Best Beard Trimmer 2026. Watch this before you make a choice. The first time the trimmer buzzed to life, it happened in a gas station restroom at 2:17 a.m., under flickering fluorescent lights that made everyone look more tired than they already were. Ethan Carter stared at his reflection and barely recognized the man looking back. His beard had grown uneven during the weeks he'd been on the road, patches thick and wild, others thin and tired, like his confidence. He pressed the trimmer to his jawline, listening to the steady hum cut through the silence. It wasn't just hair falling into the sink. It felt like something heavier was being trimmed away, weeks of doubt, a recent layoff, and the quiet fear of not knowing what came next. 2 hours earlier, he'd been driving through Ohio, halfway between nowhere and somewhere, when his phone vibrated with a reminder notification he hadn't turned off: upload review by Friday. Ethan laughed back then, a short, bitter sound. Review what? A beard trimmer. When his life felt like it was falling apart. 6 months ago, he had been a product designer in Chicago, the kind of job his parents proudly explained to relatives. Then came the budget cuts. A polite meeting. A cardboard box. Suddenly, Ethan was a freelancer with too much time, too many thoughts, and a small YouTube channel he'd started as a hobby. Honest reviews, calm voice, no hype. Just a guy explaining why something worked or didn't. That channel was the reason he was on the road now. A mid-sized grooming brand had invited him to test their upcoming beard trimmer, the one they claimed would redefine 2026 grooming. They didn't promise money. They promised honesty. Watch this before you make a choice, their email had said. At the time, Ethan didn't know he needed to hear that line himself. The next morning, he stopped at a diner just outside Columbus. Vinyl booths, bottomless coffee, a place where nobody rushed you out. He sat near the window, editing footage on his laptop, trimming clips the same way he'd trimmed his beard hours earlier. That's when he noticed the man across the room. Late 60s, maybe early 70s. Thick gray beard, unshaped but dignified. Worn denim jacket. His hands trembled slightly as he lifted his mug. When the waitress leaned down to refill his coffee, Ethan overheard him say, "I've got an interview today. Thought I'd clean up first." The waitress smiled kindly. "Good luck, Frank." Interview. Ethan's fingers paused over the keyboard. He looked at the trimmer case sitting open beside his laptop, sleek and black, still new enough to smell faintly of plastic and oil. He hesitated. Then he stood up. "Excuse me," Ethan said, approaching Frank's table. "This might sound strange, but I have a really good beard trimmer with me. If you want to use it before your interview." Frank blinked, surprised. Then he chuckled softly. "That is strange," he said. "But also kind." They went to the restroom together. Ethan sanitized the trimmer, adjusted the guard, and handed it over like it was something valuable, because suddenly, it was. Frank's hands were unsteady, so Ethan helped shape the beard, careful and quiet. No rushing, no jokes, just the low hum of the motor and the sound of hair falling. When they were done, Frank looked in the mirror for a long time. "Well," he said finally, voice thick, "I look like myself again." Outside, Frank insisted on paying for Ethan's breakfast. They shook hands before parting ways. "Whatever happens today," Frank said, "thank you for seeing me." Ethan sat back down, heart heavier and lighter at the same time. He added the clip to his timeline. By the time Ethan reached Toronto a few days later, the trimmer had become more than a product. It had become part of his journey. He filmed in hotel rooms, borrowed bathrooms, even once in his car during a snowstorm, explaining battery life, blade precision, noise levels. But he also filmed moments he hadn't planned. Like the shelter in Detroit where a volunteer asked if he could help groom a few men before a job fair. Or the college kid in Buffalo who admitted on camera that shaping his beard before a first date made him feel less invisible. Ethan never staged these moments. He just let the camera roll. Halfway through editing, he realized something unexpected. The review wasn't really about the trimmer anymore. It was about what happens when someone takes a moment, just a moment, to help another person feel ready to face the world. The emotional weight hit him in Vancouver. He was filming the final segment in a quiet park, mountains in the background, when his phone buzzed. A message from an unfamiliar number. "This is Frank. I got the job." Ethan sat down hard on the bench. Another message followed. They said I looked confident. Haven't heard that word in a long time. Ethan didn't reply right away. He just stared at the screen, the wind moving through the trees, the trimmer resting beside him on the bench like an ordinary object that had somehow become extraordinary. He finished the video that night. No dramatic music, no exaggerated claims, just truth. He spoke directly to the camera. About the smooth cut, about the quiet motor, about the long battery life, and about the night in the gas station restroom, and the diner in Ohio, and the reminder that sometimes, the right tool doesn't just change how you look, it changes how you show up. When the video went live, Ethan didn't expect much. But comments started coming in. From a nurse in Texas who bought the trimmer for her husband before chemo. From a college student in London who said grooming helped him feel less anxious. From a father in Alberta who used it to teach his son how to shave for the first time. The brand called him a week later. They wanted to license the video. They wanted his voice. They wanted his honesty. Ethan looked at the email for a long time before closing his laptop. Outside, the city lights reflected in the window. He touched his beard, neatly trimmed now, familiar, and smiled, not because things were perfect, but because they were real. Somewhere out there, someone was standing in front of a mirror, making a choice. And this time, they'd watch first.